Welcome to my first Zoom webinar. Usually I was just recording stuff off of my computer, and today I finally put together a PowerPoint presentation so that I can do a topic off of that with, some information on the screen instead of just looking at me. I'm sure it's not that bad, but I want to give it a little bit more than just me talking. The talking and the visual at the same time is more impactful. So this is my first one. I'm really excited to do it, and came about today by I decided this topic because in a group that I'm in, I posted some stuff about happiness, and so I decided to share my outlook and my playbook, if you will, for how I keep myself happy. And that's everything that has to do with what I'm thinking in my head. So let's get right into it and see if I can get this going. Okay. So, who controls your happiness? That is the topic for tonight. And some of my keys to leading a personally happy and content life, I'm going to share those with you right now. And it's taken me a long time to get here to the point where I'm at now. And I think there's three basic things that have worked for me and can help other people that are having issues that they're dealing with. Let's see. Okay. So, what is happiness? I got this from Wikipedia. Happiness is a mental or emotional state of well-being defined by positive or pleasant emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. Now, intense joy is really good. It's definitely something that we want to shoot for, but in all reality, we want to be on the positive side of emotions and be happy. It's not too often that we're like completely ecstatic and out of our minds with joy. If that happens all the time, there's probably something wrong with you. Usually it's just contentment and you're happy, which is all that we're really looking for here. These are my 3 personal strategies that I use to make sure that I'm in the right frame of mind. Consistently doing these will have you at a happiness level that's up towards 10. Number 1 is being content with your position in life. Number 2 is don't identify, and number 3 is don't mind. And I'll go over all of these and tell you exactly what I mean. Being content with the position in life. Being able to understand that there is a growth process to this thing we call life. I can't expect to know everything, and that is okay. I may be slow in understanding and managing my relationships. It's okay to be at the point you're at with how you handle your current relationships, your family, your friends, your work relationships, interactions with people at the grocery store. These are all relationships that you have, whether they last a lifetime, a season, or just a day. How well you are at handling relationships is different for everybody. And if you can understand that you try to do the best and have the best relationship that you possibly can, and whether if it's a good one or bad one, just be content with where you are, because it's a learning process. You always want to move towards the positive side of things, but if you're in a relationship that's bad, be content with where you are and work to make it better. Say, okay, we're having some frustrations right now. There's some difficulties, but that's okay. That's where we're at right now. So we can either move forward and make it better, or we can sever it and end it because it's not working. So being content with both of those outcomes will really increase your level of happiness. Yes, at first it's bad, but you can get right back into being happy because you know you were content in doing the right thing. Your career choices. You may have started college and started down a path for a degree in something that you don't really like, and you're finding out that it's not the best choice for you. Well, instead of being frustrated and fighting over where you are, just be content with understanding that it was a choice that you made and that you can always change. There's always time to change. You can be content with where you are. You can be content with where you are and making it better. And you don't have to stay in the career choice that you had for maybe 10, 15 years if it's not serving your purpose anymore and you've outgrown it. You can move past it. So when you're content with where you are in your job, but you're looking for other options, you can be happy with where you are because you know it's not the end. You know that this isn't 30 years and that's it. I have to keep doing this for another 30 years and there's no way out. Be content with you are and just keep your eyes open for something else. Feelings and emotions. You have to be content with how well you are at managing your feelings and emotions. All of your feelings and emotions aren't here to stay. If you can sit there and focus on them and say, I'm angry, I'm always angry, and you're just angry. You focus on it and you keep it fresh. You keep it building. And, I'm frustrated. I'm always frustrated. If you keep those emotions, in the front of your focus, you're going to keep bringing them up and you're going to keep living them. If you can be in a frustrated sense and say, okay, I'm frustrated now. Let's just go with it. I'm frustrated. You will see that it doesn't last long because you're not necessarily focusing on the frustration. You're focusing outwardly on the situation that you can put your focus into that and taking care of while you're frustrated instead of just focusing on being frustrated or focusing on being angry. You can be content with being angry and be okay. Well, I'm angry, so I'm just going to be angry. Grr, and it kind of minimizes it. It minimizes it a lot. Being okay with your emotions and how you're feeling at every given point is okay. If you're content and satisfied, say, okay, this is the way it's going to be. This is the way it's going to be. It runs its course and you can move on. It runs its course and you can feel happy and say, okay, I dealt with that pretty well. And now you can move on to being happy. None of these emotions really last. And when you're content, it gives you peace, it gives you relaxation, and moves on to happiness. Being content with the purpose and direction of your life. Some people are lost. Some people don't know where they're going. And that's okay. If you focus on being lost and you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where you want to go, and you don't know what dreams you have, you have no sense of direction, be okay with that. Be content. Just sit back, relax, say, you know what? I don't really know what I'm doing. And that's okay. I'll figure it out. And once you start to relax and let your mind free off of being the lost person you are, or, saying, I need a direction, then there's a certain sense of urgency and you can make a wrong decision. Once you say, you know what, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. And then you can just sit back and relax and enjoy not knowing what you're doing. And that in and of itself will give you a direction. You'll be happy with where you are. So in relationships, career choices, feelings and emotions, purpose and direction, as long as you can be content with how you are in each of those sections, you will easily find a little better way to relax and a little bit more towards happiness. So being content with my desire to learn and what I decide to learn. So if you are having trouble in any of the previously mentioned areas or any number of others, you must be content with where you are if the effort in learning and managing those concerns are not being dealt with properly. So if you're having trouble in relationships or your emotions, your career path, or purpose or direction, you got to understand If no effort is given to achieve mastery and understanding of any area, you must be content with where you're at. So if you're having a frustration with those areas, but you're not putting any effort to learn, grow, or move past them, you have to be content, because it's up to you. Nobody else can move you out of those situations or make them better but you. You're the one that has to go through the learning process. Now, when you do give time to learning and growing, this is what happens. You will be content in knowing that it takes time and mastery does not happen overnight. You will understand that you're at least trying to get better. You're not there yet, and that's okay. This is where I am. I'm trying. And just knowing that you're trying and understanding you could see some sort of a path, giving you direction, you know where you're going, then you can relax and be happy because you know you're at least on your way. Now, I want to let you understand something. It took you months to learn how to walk and years to learn how to talk. But once you did, it was easy and you never looked back. A lot of these things, those areas that I was mentioning, if you don't have any training and you don't really work on them, they are really hard, really hard. Everything is really hard until you start to try to learn and grow and understand it, which is going to lead to your overall happiness. Now, these next two keys that I learned were from an enlightened spiritual master, and his name is Mooji. When I was desperately searching for answers regarding my fight with severe anxiety attacks, I started looking for any and all answers, solutions, and suggestions I could find. Through the course of that journey, that led me to the teachings of Mooji. And two main principles that I took out of that, when I learned these and grasped them, I basically was done. I was done, and all of a sudden everything just clicked for me, and I started leading the life that I really wanted to. Things stopped affecting me, and I started moving past situations much more quickly and much more easier to get from that sense of frustration, anger, difficulty to a sense of positivity, happiness, and understanding. The first teaching is to not identify. Don't identify. Whatever happens around you, don't identify it as something that is personally directed at you. Our tendency is to take everything to heart personally, when in fact it is not our burden to carry, especially the actions of others and how we feel treated, the situations that we encounter beyond our control, the emotions that we see well up inside of us, and the thoughts that we think. Don't identify with any of these as who you are. The way someone treats you or the actions that they take against you is not who you are, it's who they are. It doesn't represent the person you are, it represents the person they are. Now, there's some give and take there. You have to understand, if you cause them the way to feel the way they do, you got to understand and take ownership of that, and understand that, there is a reason why they're frustrated or angry and they're taking it out on you. But if it's just a general disposition that they have, don't identify that as a problem with you. Okay? The situations that we encounter beyond our control, when you run up on traffic and you can think, this is just ruining my day, don't take it personally. Traffic happens, accidents happen, weather happens, don't identify it as something that's personally directly right to you as a reason for you to be unhappy. Just go with it. Be okay with where you are. Typically people get really frustrated in traffic, and they start whizzing by on the right, and, cutting people off, and then it pisses more people off. So, the situations that we encounter that are beyond our control, you just have to sit back and relax and say, okay, well, this is what's happening. Don't identify it as something that's personally directed towards you. The emotions that we see well up inside of us. If you can sit there and see that you have anger building up inside of you, two things. You're seeing the anger, so that means you're not the anger. Now, when you don't identify with the anger, you don't get in there, you don't get focused, and you don't have a flush of it. Now I'm really angry. I'm just furious. I'm blind rage. Instead, what you could say is, "Hi, I'm getting pretty angry right now." And you can see it, and you can step back, and you can watch it happen. If you just watch these things happen, watch these emotions of anger, frustration, disappointment, sorrow, um, depression, anxiety. If you don't identify it as who you are, you can watch them. They can well up, they can run their course, and then they just dissipate. And then you can be calm and say, that was pretty cool. And you can be happy, understanding that these things aren't you and they won't last unless you focus on the thoughts we think. You have a lot of thoughts that come into your head during the day. You think about stuff that happened at work and something that somebody said, and don't identify with these thoughts as who you are. You can have them come into your head, but as long as you stay back from them and don't identify with them and don't get into the drama of what they were or what you think they could be, if you're thinking about a future situation that could happen, you can watch the thought come in, and if you don't identify with it and you don't pay attention to it, it just dissipates, and that leaves you in a calm state. It leaves you in a state of happiness. It leaves you in a state that you're relaxed. So, don't identify with these things. It takes some time, but you can do it, because I've done it, and it just feels so good. Don't mind whatever happens to you, whatever situations you encounter, whatever someone says to you or does to you, whatever it is that you currently find, wherever it is that you currently find yourself in life, don't mind. Everything is just another learning experience and time to grow. Deal with it in the moment and move forward. You have random situations that occur. You're sitting there, you're relaxing on the couch, you get a phone call. "I got a flat tire. Can you come help me?" Absolutely. Absolutely. Was I sitting there relaxed on the couch and I didn't want to move? Sure. Absolutely. But, well, this is what we're going to do. So this is what we have to do. Don't mind it. Just deal with it. When you can take things in stride and not worry about not being able to do something because something else taking its place, don't worry about that. You had your eyes set on that promotion, but you didn't get it. That's all right. Don't mind. Something else is down the road that's better. Keep working, keep growing, keep building yourself. If you have an issue with your car, don't mind, don't identify it, don't make it who you are, for the rest of the day. You had a flat tire, but don't take it with you for the rest of the day. It was a flat tire, it happens. Just take care of it and deal with it and move on. A lot of things that happen to us, we can really take to heart. And once you can learn to not mind the things that happen to you, not take it personally and make it all just about you and carry it with you, it happens and it passes. You can move on to the next moment, and that happens and you can move on. So whatever comes in the moments that you have, don't mind. It's another chance to learn, and it's another chance to grow. Now, will it be easy learning these things? That, my friend, is a resounding no. But only at first. It does get easier. It is all about building momentum in the direction of the person you want to be in life. Anything we do is incredibly hard at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you do it, the better you become. It is inevitable if you continue each and every day to consciously make the decision to not let things get to you, not dwell on what someone said, and move forward consistently in the direction of your own personal happiness, you will get there. It is inevitable. So, whenever you're trying to learn something at first, it's always hard, but it gets easier. Your first day of college when you were learning a brand new trade or something like that, it was hard at first, but it gets easier. It gets to the point where you don't even have to think about it anymore. You know, being a mechanic and doing services on cars, you know, after a while, it's just, you know what you're doing. You don't even have to think about what you're trying to fix. You're off somewhere else, snowboarding or mountain biking while your body's fixing a car. It just happens. It gets easier. You know, if you can always remind yourself to not identify with stuff, to not mind what's happening, to, you know, be happy with where you're at in life, be content, it's all a gradual process. The more you do it, the more momentum you get, the easier it is. And that's a fact. I know that because the way I was 10 years ago, I was triggered by so much stuff. My emotions were just a roller coaster. And I'm sure there's a lot more people that want to take care of these things too. And so you don't identify, you don't mind, and you're content with where you're at. If you can get those things down pretty good, you will lead a happy life. So my journey started years ago. I started at least 7 or 8 years ago now, and there are several things for certain that I can tell you about my everyday life. And that's today, and that's every day. That's every day moving forward. I see possibilities everywhere. I wake up every morning excited. I have fun anywhere I go. My smile and positive outlook affects those around me. I am confident, and controlling your happiness is just the tip of the iceberg in controlling the entirety of your life. If you can understand that you can control your happiness with the things that you think of, the things that you pay attention to, understanding it's a growing process, take that stuff that you're learning and put it into a career. Take that stuff that you're learning and put it into a relationship. You will only get better over time if you keep working on it. And that's with everything. It's definitely something to look forward to. If you can be content with where you are, I'll say it again, content with where you are, you don't identify with situations and you don't mind, you're on your way to happiness in no time. So I want to thank you for watching. Please like and follow my page on Facebook. It's called Mantra Muscle. You can also follow me on Instagram, Mantra Muscle, where I put a lot of positive pictures up and things that I'm thinking throughout the day. And if you want to watch this again, you can watch it on YouTube at Mantra Muscle. So just as the eagle knew it could soar before it jumped, we too must jump because we were meant to soar. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.